Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Neuroqueering Podcast. I'm your host, Pasha Marlowe. And with us today is Jaime Messina. Jaime is a mindset and empowerment coach, the creator of Club Lilies, a late in life lesbian group, which I am part of happily, and the host of the Stories We Tell podcast. And I'm sure many other things that we're going to learn about here shortly. But thanks for coming, Jaime. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
My son's name is Jamie, spelled with the Mie. But yeah, favorite name.
Mine's
Yeah.
Jaime. Mine's Jaime.
Right.
Jaime. If you
Yeah,
ask,
I was noticing noticing the spelling difference. But yeah, love the name. And I've been following your work on social media for a while now. And every time you're on the screen, I'm mesmerized first by your energy, but also by your message and your thoughtfulness and compassion and inclusion. So all the things that I appreciate and value, I see in your content. So I resonated. I reached out, and so glad that you agreed.
thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. It helps for me to keep going.
Yeah, because we're talking to the void when we make these podcasts and videos, right? We just like hope for a comment here or there. Thanks for doing what you do. Yeah. So the part that I really recently resonated with, actually, most recently did a post that spoke to my neurodivergent ADHD autistic mind, which is that if you feel good, you'll take action. And those of us with ADHD in particular have a lot of trouble with procrastination, task avoidance, analysis paralysis. And so I appreciated what you said in that video. Do you want to kind of give people a quick synopsis of what you were saying there?
Yes. I was this, by the way, also ADHD here.
Great.
Anxiety disorder. I have like all the things. And there was a time where I didn't feel good and wouldn't take action. So there was a time where I might have heard that and been like, whatever, that's not true. But really, if you are, what that came down to was if you're imagining a future that sucks, you don't feel good. So why would you want to take action towards if you're imagining a future that sucks? Like, right, like my life sucks. I'm never gonna get this. So are you going to be motivated to take action if you think your future is going to suck? No. So what it was imagine a future that you are excited about,
Mm.
and then you feel good in the moment because our brain actually can't tell the difference between what you're imagining and what you're actually doing in real time. So if you're imagining the best future ever, your brain's like, ooh, and then you start to feel good. And then you're more motivated to take action because you're imagining a future that you love, and then also your brain doesn't know the difference. So it feels good. And then like, if you feel like shit, are you going to take action? Like, you're probably going to sit on the couch, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Except that my brain's sitting here thinking, my brain will know I'm lying to myself. Like I know brains don't know, but my brain knows.
You're giving your brain too much credit. I think we all do. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't know.
And you said that the brain has was it a natural inclination to think negative thoughts? You had
Yes.
mentioned, yeah, designed to think negative thoughts. Like, why is that?
Our brain has one job to keep us alive. And so how does it keep
Mm.
us alive? First of all, it doesn't know that we're in 2023, right? So how did it keep us alive back in the day? It had to predict and anticipate all the things that could go wrong in order to keep us alive. So I'm walking down the street or the path and there's a bush, a saber-toothed tiger could jump out. So I'm going to anticipate that, move over or whatever. It's just doing its job. We give our brains way too much credit. It only has one job, to keep us alive. And how does it do that? It anticipates all the things that could go wrong,
Mhm.
everything negative, in order to keep us breathing and alive.
Yes. And I could definitely relate to thinking through the negative, worst case scenarios, catastrophizing, ruminating, and intrusive thoughts about all the things that can go wrong, which keeps me from thinking the thoughts that could go right. I feel like so how do you shift that? How do you start to think the thoughts about something good happening and not thinking, yeah, what am I missing? When a good day happens, it's often like, oh, oh, I'm missing something. It's a good day. Something. When's the other shoe gonna drop? Kind of thing.
Well, let's go back to that last sentence. But there's so many different things. I think the first step is just acknowledging that you aren't your thoughts and that your brain's only job is to keep you alive. So that's the first and foremost. Once you realize that, then it depends what comes up. So let's say, I don't know, here comes negative thoughts. Well, you
Mhm.
want your thoughts and they're there to keep you alive. So if you want your thoughts, you can separate yourself from them. I do
Mhm.
that by naming them. I call it name it to tame it.
Okay.
So the negative person that's like, you suck, you can't do this, or you're neurodivergent. Who do you think you are? You can't organize, you can't. I name that Sally, and then I'm like, oh, hey, Sally's here. And what happens in that moment when you name it is cognitive diffusion, which means you're looking at your thoughts rather than from them. And then you're able to go, well, that's not me. Hey, Sally, nice to see you, but get the fuck out of here. Sorry, am I
Yeah,
allowed?
no, yeah, please. I love that. And from a internal family systems perspective, sometimes we'll talk about parts and I'll say, hello, jealousy. Good morning, anxiety. Great to sleep with you again. So I'll name it.
Absolutely, because you're separating yourself from your thoughts and realizing like, okay, I'm looking at this. It doesn't mean who this is who I am and this is how I have to be. This is just my brain separating it. There's Sally. She's coming up with the anxiety, with the fear, with the doubt, and then being able to move forward from that.
Hmm. And in your work, do you work with a lot of neurodivergent people and do they struggle more with these concepts or the application of them?
Um, I think I attract a lot of neurodivergent people because we attract.
Like attracts like.
Yeah, and I'm always do all over. Like I'm nonstop. Everybody notices. Um, and I think that what might you said, does it kind of limit them? Or
Yeah. Is it more challenging?
I believe the only reason it's more challenging is because they believe that because they're neurodivergent, it's more challenging.
Love it.
I notice it a lot. Like even in my videos, somebody will say, "Well, that's great, but I'm neurodivergent." Or
Right.
and I notice one person might say the same thing over and over and over, and I'm like, I can see it right away. I'm like, well, you're already placing that on yourself, so of course it's going to be challenging for you.
Yeah, if we have the limiting belief that we can't shift our brain or the limiting belief that we're not worthy of that good life that we're imagining, then yeah, it's not gonna
Part of
work.
that when really it's like that's the best part of me in my opinion. The reason why I have all the ideas that I do and that I'm doing what I do and I'm so excited all the time and creative one day and functional like all over the map is because I'm neurodivergent. If I didn't have that, I'd probably be at a 9 to 5 somewhere being bored as fuck.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And yet being a neurodivergent, multi-passionate, entrepreneur as well, how do you when you wake up in the morning, either ground yourself or set yourself up for a positive mindset and empowered day?
Yeah, first of all, this one took me a little bit because you know how it is. I just want to pick up my phone or whatever, but
Mhm.
um, the more we do something, the easier it becomes, no matter what
Yes.
the brain looks like. And so for me, I wake up, I like, I hate working out in the morning. I like sleeping, but I've been getting up earlier, making sure to breathe and not touch my phone. Um, Most days I'll try to journal. So anything that's coming up here, so it doesn't affect me the whole day, I'm gonna put it out onto the paper. Um, and breath work, breathing is huge because I also
Yeah.
have anxiety a lot, and I might wake
Yeah.
up with like a pit in my stomach. And when you just take a deep breath and hold it and then let it out, I'm like calm a little. I'm like, okay, this day is our
Mhm.
day. Let's freaking do this.
So you wake up with mindfulness and mindset work with your journaling and your breathing. And then I don't like working out anymore in the morning either. Used to, but it doesn't feel good anymore in my joints. So when do you follow the Steve Huberman podcast, by the way? There's a lot of like the optimal way to wake up in the morning. And one of the things he talks about with brain optimization is you wake up, you put your eyes in the sun for as early as you can, and then work out and then have your coffee. And I'm like, right.
I wake up, I have my caffeine, I don't, and this year I started in 2023 going to the gym. And honestly, it's been very helpful, even though I hate it.
Do you go in the morning after your coffee or your caffeine, or what do you do?
My caffeine with me to the gym because I don't have a lot of time. So I'm like, I just need to get down there and I want every last minute of sleep I can have. So I don't drink coffee. I drink like an energy drink that has caffeine. Um, but yeah, I bring it down there with me and I just like, I'm like half asleep on the way down, but the gym's also in my building, which is a whole lot better than
Oh,
having,
so you're not getting in the car and parking and oh, so you're just like crawling downstairs.
yeah, basically.
That's handy. Okay. And then just out of curiosity, because I always talk to neurodivergent people about like what workouts keep them engaged. Like what do you do? What's your movement routine?
Honestly, so for me, I don't like to think. I want somebody to tell me what to do. So for a long time in the past, I would watch like the Beachbody videos, but now
Hmm.
this trainer, Train with Shay. She's awesome on TikTok, has the best recipes. And it's this app, and I open it and it just says, okay, today I do this, 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 and this, and I just do what it says. That's the easiest thing for me. I don't want to have to
Okay.
think about anything. I just want somebody to tell me what to do, and then I
Yeah.
do. It's not
Yeah.
it's not fun, but our workouts, I mean, they can be fun, but they don't necessarily have to be. I just want to get it done.
Yeah, no, I think a connection component or some sort of social component, somebody else telling you what to do, whether it's live or on video, helps. I ended up becoming a personal trainer and owned gyms and yoga studios so I would work out because then it was my job.
It
I had
worked.
to show up. It did work. It's the only
Yeah.
time I work out is if I'm leading a class. It's the way I just know after 30 years that's what I do. So it's yeah, we have to work around our own unique quirks, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's always a pivot you can make depending, no matter what how you're different or how you show up, you can pivot in a way that works for you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so in your coaching, you said you attract neurodivergent people. Do you tend to also attract queer people or
Yeah.
who's your yeah, they're
Uh,
all neurodivergent and queer like
it's
mine?
99% neurodivergent and 100% queer.
There's a
So,
lot of overlap there, like a
yeah.
60% correlation between neurodivergency and
Are there
queerness.
like studies on that, or is it just
Yeah, I mean, and I think that they're under researched and studied. I mean, I believe it was the autistic community, it was 40 to 60%. And then the ADHD community, it was so funny. I mean, I think it's funny. Like 2020, it was like 20%, and then 2020 was like 40%. And now I'm seeing numbers up close to 60%. Because haven't you seen, I know I have, between like the beginning of the pandemic to now, a lot of midlife women coming out late in life, lesbian or queer or somewhere along the rainbow, and then also the rainbow, the spectrum of neurodivergence. Like I feel like those two over the last 3 years have blossomed and expanded.
well, I hadn't even heard the word neurodivergent until
Now,
2020.
just kidding.
No, like not until being home with the pandemic and TikTok. I didn't even know that was a thing. Like I was just like, I have ADD. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
I didn't know. So maybe people are just feeling like they can connect with that word more.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. And even with ADHD, I agree. TikTok on both accounts from an ADHD perspective, but definitely lesbian talk or lesbian TikTok that blew up in the pandemic and shifted a lot of people's
That's
mindsets.
why I'm here right now. That's why I have a job.
Right, right, yeah. And why do you think that happened? I'm really curious. I know why it happened to me, but why did so many people come out in the
I
pandemic
have
during?
thoughts. My thoughts are this. Well, okay, so you're newly gay-ish.
I mean, I assume I always was, but newly out 3 years ago.
So let's put something into perspective. I'm 40 years old. When I was 18, the same thing would happen. If straight women came around a group of lesbians, they always ended up in love with one of them, right? But how often does that happen? Not very often. So now we have social media, we have TikTok, and we have this pandemic where there's a bunch of people home and they're on TikTok. And now, not only that, but maybe they were already in relationships that they weren't really happy in. They just got married because they were supposed to, or add in that aspect or whatever. And all of a sudden, somebody like me comes up in a For You page, and maybe they spend, the algorithm is insane. So maybe they spend 1 second longer, like, that person's interesting. Now the feed is full with 5 of them. Now it's full, and now it's more and more and more. It was the same thing back in the day. People would come out with us, but they'd be more scared to come out with us because we're in public. And then also, then they'd come around and say, oh, this is normal. Oh, I'm attracted to this person. I never really knew that. But it wouldn't happen as often because it was usually like I worked in the school system. It was always like, women that were in the working with us in summer camps or something like that, adults, obviously, like, and then they'd be like, okay, well, there's 3 lesbians that work here, and now I'm friends with them and I'm going out with them, and why am I interested? Whereas the TikTok and the algorithm put it in people's faces more.
Yeah,
So it's not that
yeah.
it's new, it's just that it's now broadened the horizon because we have social media at our fingertips. With the pandemic, where more people were actually on it that are in our age, and also then they were stuck with their husbands after seeing this hot lesbian and they didn't like him to begin with. So
Yeah, there's that whole like mating in captivity aspect to this where the pandemic brought like too much togetherness and a lot of clarity. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I'm sure you found in your community that there's this like the grass is always greener. Do you run into a lot? No, no, you're like the grass is greener, Pasha. Don't think otherwise.
I mean, I don't think the grass is greener. I think people think
Oh,
it. Yeah. I mean, you get the same issues whether you're gay, straight, if you're dating a man, you're dating a woman, you're dating anybody in between. Like, people are people, you know?
that's an interesting perspective. I jumped to the wrong assumption there because yeah, what I hear most of all because I have no
But it
actual.
also depends what we're talking about. Are we talking about physical or are we just talking about like relationships?
Okay, okay, fair. Right, because relationship dynamics, we're all going to come in with our all of our histories and our own quirks, our own limiting beliefs, and all the things. And those issues, communication issues, and attachment issues will still continue, I'm sure. Um, but the sex is better, right?
I mean, I haven't been with a dude since I was like a long, I have nothing to really compare to, but everyone else seems to think so. Yes. Yeah, that part's
I'm
good.
I'm still single. I just like anyhow, I'm very particular. And I like my own company, which is good, right? Like that's the work that I've been doing is to not jump into as fun as it has sounded. I don't want to jump into a relationship just because I'm out. That doesn't necessarily I want to make sure I'm good with myself and I want to make sure my healing and mindset is really strong so that I'm coming as clear as I can about who I am and what kind of person I want to partner with.
I think that is a really great way to go about it. To avoid a lot of, a lot of messy situations.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It probably has. It probably has. Oh no, I'm going on a tangent there though. Okay. My own dating issues. Anyhow, so do you find that with your like do you challenge and as a coach, are there days where you're just like, I cannot believe I am a mindset empowerment coach because today I just feel so shitty. Like, how do you pull yourself out of those days if they even happen?
Um, I'll be honest, they're very few and far between these days. I
Awesome.
mean, to the point where I feel obviously you have ups and downs in your day, but I can recognize that this is just a moment and I know what to do when it comes up. Um, but there was a time where I didn't even want to get up and live, so I've come a long way. So it's easier to see. But
Mm,
there are a couple days here and there, like it usually has to do with people attacking me online or something. I let it get under my skin.
mm,
But other than that, like shit happens. I have a lot of ups and downs, but I'm just seeing that as part of the process, part of the journey, and I'm okay with it.
mm. Yeah. Part of ADHD is for some this rejection sensitivity dysphoria or just rejection sensitivity on the whole. And so seeing a comment on TikTok or on Instagram, a negative comment or at worst a very rude, cruel comment, do those stay with you or do you like block, delete out of your head? How do you push that negativity and or rejection criticism aside?
My skin is getting thicker every day. And like we were talking about before we jumped on, I've been building my social media for 13 years.
Mhm.
In the beginning, I was in network marketing and people hate that. So we got a lot of hate towards my way. And I used to want to react to each and every one of them. But part of what I've learned in my own journey is, hey, we need to respond, not react, or not everything deserves a response.
Yeah.
And there are a few that will creep in that kind of can get to me. Um, but one of the things that I teach people and that I've learned myself is that something can only affect you to the level at which you believe it yourself. So, like for example, 2 weeks ago, I got this really hateful message. I don't know if you saw the reel where it was like, I don't know who the fuck you think you are. You're 25 years old and you think you can coach later in life lesbians. Your frontal lobe isn't even formed. You're a joke and da 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 da. And I'm laughing. And you normally that might upset me, but do you know why it didn't upset me?
Because you knew who you were and you stood strong in your knowing and your
I'm
values and
40. I'm not 25. Everything she said, I didn't believe it. I'm 40 years old. I've experienced life. My
I
friends
was
will
like, she's 25.
like going on and on and hating on me about me being 25. I don't believe one word of that. I'm 40 years old. Like she's wrong.
And even if you
So,
were 25,
like,
seriously, that's just a yeah, yeah, that's funny. Yeah, if the comments that I receive are so far off from my truth, I it doesn't bother me as much, but sometimes I'm like, you got under my skin like my mom does. And then I try to defend myself and and I've gotten better at not responding uh at all to those and just ignoring those comments. But at first I was like, I'm going to have to convince you that that's not who I am.
So I have a mentor that would always say, "What upsets me is about me." And I hated that because I'm like, whatever.
Mm.
I'm just, these people just suck. And then now I've like taken it on because he's a good guy and he's my mentor. And I'm like, all right, I'm triggered right now. I want to run and do, make this right. But why? Why is it upsetting me so much? What about what they're saying is making me feel like I even have to respond? Because if you don't believe it, you don't give a shit. So you're not going to waste your time and energy. So it's actually a gift. These comments, the ones that really still upset me, I'm like, all right, well, what is it about this comment that I believe or that I can work on now? You know?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Learning opportunities. Mm. Cool. Um, is there one topic that just when it comes up in coaching that it's that you see as the most common theme, the most challenging theme right now for people? Is there a current trend, a trend and mindset challenge at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I just think so many people are walking around and their wise adult self knows that they're the shit, that they're amazing, but they still have those beliefs that were ingrained in them when they were really young, and this inner child within them that they don't realize that that's the person that gets upset by these things, that's who's responding, and that we can unlearn those things and then, show up as our true selves. So something I've been working on with my group, I have a group coaching, is getting to know our inner child. And so we went through and really thought about the first time, we heard this. Like what's your main insecurity? Do you know?
Uh, yeah, it's probably body stuff right now.
So when was the first time that you remember somebody said something that upset you or that you realized and that affected you? How old were you?
Uh, the first one I remember was probably like 6 or 7, but it was one of my parents making a comment. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's usually our parents, the people that raise us, the school, people, school, society. We don't even know. And sometimes it's not even a big deal. You could have been just mind your business and some kid in class was like, "You're fat." And like, you don't even realize that imprinted in your brain. And
Yeah.
now this is following you through your whole life. Um, so getting to know the inner child and letting them know that you have their back now, it doesn't matter what anyone says.
Mhm.
I literally had a conversation with them. We went through this as a group recently where we closed our eyes and we visualized ourselves meeting our little self and then telling them everything that we thought they needed to hear. And then
Mhm.
letting them, hey, I know you're still with me and I have your back. Like, you don't need anybody else. You got me now. And
Yeah.
you're safe and you're here. And it was like really powerful for the group.
It is a very powerful exercise. I've done that with my clients as well. And then what's cool is to then talk to your 80-year-old self or some, very old version of yourself, and just to have that lifespan perspective, and that you're the constant. Like you'll be there, for yourself and with yourself. Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're doing really important work, beautiful work. I know you do live readings as well, sometimes poetry or stories. And
I just
so,
finished the four. Yeah,
yeah.
great book.
Oh, the Four Agreements. Yeah. So yeah, it's like this beautiful combination, I feel like, of intelligence and edginess and soulfulness and gayness that, the world needs more of all that.
I love that. I love all those words.
So. Good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you, Jamie. How can people follow you and do all the things?
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me.
You're
First of all, this
welcome.
was awesome. I think we both have this like ADD energy. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Which keeps me going. You can follow me on TikTok and Instagram. It's just my name, Jaime Messina, spelled Jaime, Jaime. And then my website is jamiecoaches.com. Thank you
Okay.
both.
Cool, cool. I will be, of course, putting all that in the show notes so that folks who are driving their car right now don't stop and write it down or whatever. Try to remember. Don't even bother to remember it. It's gonna be in the show notes so you can see it. Some of you might want to watch this on YouTube. Others, you hopefully listening on whatever you're listening to. But yeah, so good to meet you.
Yeah.
And yeah, I hope we cross paths again somehow.
You'll be
I
on
bet
my
so.
podcast very soon too. So the listeners, when we get you on, we'll share it there too.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm excited for that. And those of you out there who want to follow me, I'm on TikTok and Instagram, neuroqueer coach, and website has all the stuff, fashamarlow.com. So you can find out about my individual couples coaching and groups. Oh, and I wrote a online program called Same Bed, Different Brains for neurodivergent couples. So that, yeah, I'm excited about that. So, all right. Thank you so much, Jaime. And thank you everybody for neuroqueering with us.